Good morning, Year 10. It's Tuesday, the 16th of June, and that means it's time for our ethics conversation. You will notice I am not in A5, nor am I even in school, and I apologise about that. That means I didn't record this in advance. However, I will be back to normal soon. So in the meantime, I'm going to talk to camera, and it's going to be a short video, like last time where I raised a series of questions. This time I'm going to zero in. The protests that we've seen over the last week and a bit, and the violence that we saw in London, perpetrated mainly by white people, I have to point out, being one, and with various editing. I don't know if you noticed, there are scenes of chaos, for want of a better phrase, as they defended statues. So, okay, let's bite. Let's talk about the ethics of statues. Statues are a vanity, either social or personal. A statue is there to commemorate and literally put on a pedestal the person who is shown in that statue. The statue is a decision that we make on who we put in our public places. Speaking as a history teacher, I know that's not how we remember history. Nobody learns history by looking at statues. If they did, then our coursework in Year 10 will consist of trying to find the statue of Arkwright, and I'm sure there are a couple, but we don't. As far as I'm aware, there is no statue of Arkwright at Cromford. There are no statue of the Struts in Belper. As far as I'm aware, there might be, and I apologise if there are, and I've totally missed them. The point I'm making is, statues do not commemorate history. That's not their point. They commemorate the people. They are a vanity. Now, to my knowledge again, and you may disagree, and if you know different, please let me know. I don't think anyone's been attacking gravestones, grave markers, mausoleums, or anything marking the death of anybody. So there's no disrespect on that level. So people often say, well, where do you draw the line? I believe Karl Marx was anti-Semitic. Why is no one talking about Karl Marx? Mainly because, as far as I'm aware, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no statue to Karl Marx in this country. So we don't need to bring down a statue of Karl Marx. There isn't one. People have talked about Churchill. Do we bring that statue down? Now, again, I know it was attacked, and I know that it was daubed with slogans, and I know that Churchill, because I teach Churchill at Year 12, in case you're wondering, I know Churchill is a very controversial figure to put on a statue, so much so that they waited this long to do it. It was only around 2005, I think, that the statue was erected, and from the very get-go, it was the focus of protest. This is nothing new. Churchill didn't just lead Britain in the Second World War, but this isn't the point. If statues are vanities, and statues are deliberate choices on who to venerate, on who to literally raise onto a pedestal so we can look up to them, the ethical conversation I'd like to talk about this morning, the ethical questions I'd like to raise are, okay, people say, where do you draw the line? So where do we draw the line? Who would we like to see raised onto pedestals? Who should we have in our towns and cities? And who should be on those statues? Nelson's column is a good example. Nelson stands atop a column because he won a victory, not because of his personal background or because of his atrocious personality, but because he won a victory. He stays there, I guess, because people don't really care, and therefore probably doesn't need to be changed. Does he deserve to be there? Is the victory enough? Look it up. Other things, I don't know. I mean, where I grew up in Carlisle, there were several benefactors of the local council. I'll be perfectly honest with you, and this is further proof that statues don't do history. I never looked any of them up. They were just statues. However, if someone else in Carlisle had said that they were offended by the statues that were there because of something that they knew about the history, and that every time they walked past them, it made them feel a little bit dirty on the inside and a little bit angry, would I defend those statues? No, I wouldn't. Would there be people who did? Absolutely there would. Is it enough to be offended by a statue and therefore get rid of it? No. The examples that we've seen in the UK, the first one in Bristol, the one that kick-started all of this, came after a long period of time. We talked about that in the last video. Other ones being removed by councils basically were in a similar situation, but had not reached the point of local anger where they were going to pull them down. And so as a consequence, they were removed. Baden-Powell has been removed, but is coming back. He's removed during the time of, what's going on, because he was close to the sea. And what they didn't want was another propaganda coup of a mob throwing him into the sea. As far as I know, there were no direct threats made to the Baden-Powell statue. I think some people mentioned it on social media. That said, he's coming back. He won't stay away forever. And so we have to have the conversation. Where do we draw the line? How much offence is too much offence? Is it waiting until someone organises a petition and that petition gathers enough signatures and it gets discussed at a local government level and a majority, simple majority, agree that maybe the statute should be changed? Is that good enough? Do we need to go further? Is that too much? I honestly don't know. Where do we draw the line? Now, note how I'm phrasing this. I am not asking you to tell me which statues we keep and which statues we don't. That's not for you or I to make that statement. We don't know what popular feeling is. We live in a democracy. What I'm suggesting is, how do we find a method to judge which vanities we keep and which vanities we change? Is there an argument for changing all of the statues regularly? The Romans, when they had statues, used to change them pretty regularly. They had statues that moved on and off pedestals and plinths with, well, stunning regularity. That's why we found so many of them. And they regularly changed them to fit the feeling of the day, as it were, sometimes even just for festivals. So should we view statues as being a little bit less permanent? I honestly don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but it's interesting to think about. Again, I'm not, you know, I'm biased. I'm horrifically biased. But I'm raising the questions for you to talk about. Please don't feel you have to agree with me. You could utterly disagree with me. Your answer could include, well, actually, I do think there are some statues that are sacrosanct, that we cannot challenge and we should not challenge. You might say, actually, statues is how I learn history. If so, I'd love to hear from you, and do let me know how, because I'm honest here, I don't know how that would work. But if you do, and you learn history by statues, please let me know. I might be wrong. I am perfectly prepared to be wrong. I'm biased, but I'm prepared to be wrong. I will change my views in light of facts. I hope you will too. And that's it for this video. It's a short one just to set the ball rolling. Thank you to those of you that fed back last Tuesday. Sounds like some of you have been having fantastic conversations, and I've learned a lot from the conversations that you've been having. So for example, I don't think I mentioned last week, I now have more knowledge about the kettling that police carry out. I now know that it was debated at the European Court of Rights, Justice, and I know that it was decided that it did not affect the human rights of anyone involved in the manoeuvre by police to kettle, and therefore it was allowed to continue. It doesn't change my view on it, interestingly, but I found that fascinating because I didn't know. It was something I literally didn't know. So although it's controversial, it is perfectly legal and perfectly within human rights. So there we go. These are things I did not know beforehand. And that's where I leave it. Where is the line? I'll try that again with a proper voice. Where is the line? How do we decide who we venerate and who we don't? How should we choose who we venerate and who we don't? No one is perfect. I appreciate that. And when you judge the past by the morality of the present, the past will always come out wanting. That makes sense. When we are judged in the future, we too will come out wanting. And so, how far do we go? And how do we decide? Thank you very much if you have been for watching, and have a lovely rest of day, Year 10. Stay safe out there. Have a good day. I mean, we had that storm. I don't know if you had the storm. We had a massive storm yesterday. Not yesterday, Sunday. And it was pretty bad. I hope you're all right where you are. And I shall see you on Thursday. Genuinely looking forward to it. I hope you can all make it. Do not worry. I've seen the preparations. I know they are safe. And I genuinely am looking forward to seeing you all face to face again. So I'll see you then. Have a lovely day. Awkward pause at the end of the video.